fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today with this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside while I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. I am still working on my Harajuku from Bella Art. I'm really enjoying this one, but I took a bit of a break because I was working on kitting up the Diamond Painting Deutschland. I've worked a little bit on the Diamond Painting Deutschland Josephine wall. Yeah, I'm eager to get back to this one. I've got some other projects that I've got on the go as well, but I think I'm sort of caught up enough. So yeah, I'm going to get back to this one. Let me zoom in so you can see where I'm going to be working, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, let me start my timer here. I'm just going to start, got some nice multi-placing right here. Going to start with that while I jump into my life update. So what's going on in my regular life? Not a ton of things going on. Life is life, right? There's always something. My oldest actually got a few extra days off work. She was scheduled to go back she had 2 weeks off, and then she was going to go back on a Monday. Well, that Monday ended up being Martin Luther King Day, which the schools are closed on that day. The teachers have to work, but she didn't. So she got that day off. And then it turned out, because our weather has been so crazy here, that she ended up getting another day off because they canceled school on Tuesday because the wind chills were so crazy. We had wind chills of -20, -25. It's crazy. I've never seen it that cold here that I remember anyway. I think they actually got another day off that week, or it might have been, yeah, I think they got another day off. I could be wrong, but maybe I think they did. Anyway, so she's back at work. Also, she was late the first day that she was supposed to go back. She forgot to turn her alarms back on, and I was like, how do you forget to turn your alarms back on? Well, I just forgot because I've been off work. And I'm like, yeah, but you knew you were going to be going back to work. That should have been one of the things that you remembered to do, was turn it back on because you knew you were going to need them. She forgot, so she was late back her first day. But everybody was happy to see her back. They've been shorthanded without her, so her coworkers were glad to see her back, and the kids were glad to see her back too. She's like, Mom, I got so many hugs my first day back. And I was like, well, that's good. We have started getting the bills for her emergency room visit and surgery. I'm just continually floored by billing. So things come in really hit and miss. We had a bill from her doctor that did the surgery for one of the visits, because she had 2 visits with the doctor before the surgery. So we got one of those bills and had taken care of it, and it was very minimal, less than $10 what she owed. Then we got the bill for the anesthesiologist, which I thought was funny because we haven't gotten the bills from the doctor for the surgery. We haven't gotten the hospital bill. We haven't gotten any other bill, but the anesthesiologist we got. So the bill was $1,800. After write-offs and what the insurance paid, she owes, I think, $250 for that. Then we got the bill from the emergency room for her emergency room visit, which is that and the one from the hospital for the surgery. I'm dreading both of those. But the one for the hospital, and we haven't gotten anything from the insurance to show what she owes, like what they processed, what they paid, and all of that. I used to work for an insurance company, so I never pay any bills until I have the explanation from the insurance company of the claim so that I can match it all up, because I have seen it happen. In fact, there was a doctor who got convicted of fraud for doing this, where what the doctor's office will do is, if you have insurance, almost always there is a write-off amount. The doctor bills for more than the insurance will cover. So like on her anesthesiologist bill, the bill was $1,800. I think there was a write-off of like $580 some, something like that, than whatever the patient portion is. But this doctor that got convicted, what they would do is they would send out a bill to the patient that showed a total due of whatever they actually owed plus the write-off amount. And if you caught it and only sent in what you owed, then they would never say anything about it. But there's a lot of people who just don't understand it, don't pay enough attention. And, you know, they would look at it and go, okay, this amount is due, and they would pay it, when in fact, the doctor was contractually obligated by the insurance company to write that amount off. So they were getting paid for amounts that should have been written off by them. So yeah, he ended up going to jail. Anyway, the emergency room bill from the hospital for the hospital portion, and I don't know if we're going to get a separate bill from the ER doctor. Usually you do, but I haven't seen one yet, so I don't know. $5,000, 5,100 and some change for her emergency room visit, which I'm assuming that includes all the testing and everything that she had done. She had a CT scan done. So we had to pay, there was $100 emergency room copay is what they called it. So I thought generally when it's called a copay, that means you pay that amount and then the insurance covers everything else. But the emergency room bill went to her deductible and coinsurance. So she owes almost $900 after what the insurance paid. So some of that went to her deductible, some of that went to her coinsurance. For those of you who aren't familiar with the American healthcare system, the way most insurances typically work, if something is not a copay, like most doctor's visits are a copay, you pay a $25 or $15 copay and then the insurance pays everything else. For big bills like hospital visits, ER visits, that kind of thing, it's a deductible and then what they call a coinsurance. So there's the deductible is an amount that you have to meet first. Hers is $500, which I thought it was only $250, so that sucks. And then after that, the insurance pays 80-20. So they pay 80%, you pay 20% until you get to what they call their coinsurance maximum. Hers is $2,500, which I'm pretty sure she's going to meet that. The benefit of that is once you meet your coinsurance maximum, then everything else for the rest of that year, because you've met your deductible and you're out of pocket, everything is covered at 100%. The sucky thing is that those usually run calendar year, and she had her surgery at the end of December. So normally everything would reset to zero and she'd have to meet her deductible and her out of pocket and all that again for 2024. But luckily, her insurance has what they call a carryover provision. And what that means for her is that if you, under her policy, if she incurs charges that go towards her deductible or her out-of-pocket maximum in the last 3 months of the year, it carries over and applies for the next year as well. So, knock on wood, nothing else goes wrong, but if anything else would happen and she would need to have something else done, then her deductible and coinsurance will have been met for this year as well, which is nice because a lot of plans don't have that provision. So we're lucky in that she has a good insurance policy, but man, is everything expensive. What are we at? $250 approximately for the anesthesiologist and another $900. So we're over $1,000 already that she's going to owe, and we're still waiting on the bill from the actual surgeon and the hospital bill for her outpatient surgery. I don't know, like I said, if we're going to get a bill from the emergency room doctor or if we're going to get a bill for all the tests that she had done while she was in the ER. I would assume all of that is covered under the hospital bill. I'm hoping that all those tests are included in it and we don't have to worry about another bill for that as well. Not a ton of fun getting slapped with all of that right at the beginning of the year. Like I said, super glad that all of this happened while we were still here, because I guess we could have helped her pay the bills and everything from long distance, but one, I would have wanted to be here for her surgery, and two, there's no way if she was doing this on her own, she can't afford, she doesn't have that much money saved up to be able to afford all of this. And the hospital does have assistance and all of that for people who maybe can't pay and all of those kind of things, but I don't honestly think she would qualify for any of those. So yeah, glad this all happened while we're here. Okay. So, enough about all of that healthcare downer stuff. It has been so super cold here this week. Like I said, the actual temperature hasn't been bad. It's been the wind chills. Hubby was actually off work for a couple of days because of the wind chills being so cold. Like there was such a danger of frostbite that they just decided not to work. And he was having trouble with his car. He went out to go start his car and he couldn't get in it because it's so cold. You know, these newer cars, you don't have a key for the door anymore. You don't have a key for the engine. You have a fob. It wouldn't unlock the doors. So he was trying to figure out how to get it done. Finally, he got it unlocked. Once he got in, the car started up just fine. So something to do with the battery doesn't, I don't know if the fob doesn't pull from the battery. I don't know how it all works. But anyway, there were a couple of times while it was super cold that he kind of had to finagle getting in the car. Like I said, once he got in, it was fine, but getting in was the issue. I just laughed because his car sits outside. Mine is the one that's in the garage. And I actually told him he could just drive my car, but he was hauling all of his stuff for work. Now that he started with this new company, he had to take a bunch of his tools and everything. And so he was like, no, I really need to take my car. So I said, well, okay, then I guess have fun trying to get in it. Oh, you guys, we finally had our binge watch session for Only Murders in the Building. I liked it. It was really enjoyable. Their guest stars this season were Paul Rudd and Meryl Streep, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. I like shows like that because they keep me guessing because I'm always wrong about who I think it is. I had several guesses and both of them were wrong, but it was enjoyable, and it looks like there is going to be a season 4, so I'm excited about that. Kind of bummed at the character because I like the character that will be the focus of next season. But I'm curious to see who they will have as their guest star next season. So they've had Shirley MacLaine, Meryl Streep, Paul Rudd, Andrea Martin is in it. She was in this season, but not a lot. Trying to think. I don't think anybody else was anybody super famous. So we'll see what happens next season. Because we always wait until all the episodes have been released before we watch them, just because we like to do the binge thing. I find it's more fun that way, just because I'm impatient and I don't like waiting until I have to wait for the next week for it to come out. I'd rather just wait until everything's out and then I can watch it all at once. Also excited to see, we started watching last year this show called Will Trent, and I love it. I absolutely love the guy that plays the main character, and it's been super interesting. I think they were not filming because of the strike for a while, but they are supposed to be back in February. And last season ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, so I'm kind of excited to see where that one goes. Of course, we're still watching Oak Island. They haven't found the treasure yet. Surprise, surprise. So still watching that one. Glad I was finally able to get caught up on Only Murders in the Building. I need to make a list. There's some other shows that I would like to watch as well. There's some movies I would like to watch, but I find that my TV watching has gone down because I'm usually diamond painting, and for a lot of the movies and things that I want to watch, I need to actually be watching the TV or I lose the thread of what's going on. I find it hard to just listen while I'm diamond painting, which is why I watch so many of my dead people shows or I listen to podcasts or whatever while I'm diamond painting. I just haven't watched all the shows that I probably would have otherwise while I'm busy diamond painting. But anyway, so someday I'll get around to that. Gosh, it seems like it's been a really long week. This seems like I did this a really long time ago, but I didn't. I just did this. Did I do this week? Maybe I did it last week and I just forgot to tell you. I can't remember now. Anyway, I had to renew my driver's license. My driver's license was expiring, so I was trying to decide if I wanted to go in and renew it or if I just wanted to renew it online. I went through some of the steps online and then I got to a point where I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm just going to go in and do it because it seems like it would just be easier. I mean, online is supposed to be easier, and I guess, you know, for people who have full-time jobs and such, trying to get off work to go in and do it is probably kind of a pain. I don't have that issue, so we actually ended up going on a day when my husband didn't have to work. But you still have to make an appointment, because when you go to the DMV site, it says by appointment only. So I make this appointment, get it scheduled. It was super cold that day. Hubby went with me. So I go in. You have to check in on your phone. It sends you a text message. Hey, check in, do this, whatever. So I check in on my phone and it tells me to wait. Okay. Well, as we're sitting there waiting, because our DMV office is small enough, there's only 2 people who work there. And they were both busy because you can see through the window in the door. So I'm sitting there waiting, and this lady comes in, and there's a little ticket number machine by the door that says, take a number if you don't have an appointment. And I'm like, what do you mean if you don't have an appointment? Your website says you have to have an appointment. So I'm talking to my husband about all of this, right? So we're sitting there waiting, and they open the door and call on the lady who didn't have an appointment before me. I was so annoyed. So I told my husband, what is the point of me making an appointment if other people can show up and just go in? Because it was after my appointment time. So I'm sitting there talking to my husband about this, and I get a little beep on my phone that says, we'll see you now. Please go in. So I go to the door. Both ladies are busy, and they look up at me, and they're like, can I help you? And I said, my phone said to come in. Oh, well, we'll come get you. So I don't know. I don't know. I was annoyed. So I go in after that. One of the people leaves, and the lady who had the ticket number is still sitting in the chair. I go through all of my stuff. I actually ended up taking everything in so I could get their real ID, where you get the little gold star that shows that you're actually an American citizen, so you can fly with your driver's license instead of having to have a passport. Anyway, so she's going through all of that stuff. We're going through everything, answering the questions, doing the vision test, and I'm almost done. She's taken my payment. She's putting stuff in, and I hear the other woman say, okay, all I need is, what just happened? And all of us look over, and the lady with the ticket says, what? And she goes, my computer just glitched, and it just wiped everything. I've got to start all over. And I thought, okay, universe, thanks for saving me from that frustration. Because if I had gone in before that woman, that would have been my seat, and I would have been even more annoyed. So got my driver's license done. I'm still waiting. I have my paper one. I'm still waiting for the actual one to get mailed to me, but I'm good for another 6 years. And I told my husband, it's insane. So now my driver's license says it expires in 2030. I feel so old. 2030 sounds so far in the future. It's only 6 years away. Why does that sound so far away? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm done. Got my driver's license renewed. I'm good for another 6 years. Here in the States, anyway. Hubby ended up with the dreaded man flu this weekend. I think actually some of it was because they worked when it was so cold. And then, you know, being out in the cold and then hopping in the trucks to try and warm up. It's like in the summer when it's so hot and the air conditioning, the constant going back and forth in temperatures, he almost always ends up with some kind of cold. He really did not feel good. He was running a fever and just kind of cold and achy. He only stayed home for 1 day, but he did stay home for a day. He is annoyed. They're actually working today, Sunday. They're working again in a place where they're doing business outages, and so they have to do them when the businesses are not open, obviously. And I guess the one that they have to do is kind of complicated. So he had to be at work at 5 a.m. and they think it's going to take them until 2 or 3 in the morning to get everything done. It has its pros and cons. They're getting double time, so yay, but also they're working out in the cold, so boo, and working that long is just tiring on your body. That's one of the things we're hoping when we move, is that he's going to be able to retire here in the next couple of years from line work anyway. I think he and I are probably both going to still be, well, my plan is to still be doing YouTube and doing some other things, open diamond painting business, I don't know, open a stationery business. I'm not sure exactly what yet, but something along those lines. He loves working on computers and cars, so he's contemplating something like that. I'm going to switch to my white tray here so I can see my black drills enough to kind of pick out the bad ones. I can't see them good enough when they're in that purple tray. Okay, so anyway, yeah, he's hoping to retire in the next couple of years. We'll see what happens. My youngest started school this week. He definitely has senioritis. He's so over some of the stuff. It's his last semester. I'm trying to be encouraging, but some of the stuff this semester, I'm just like, what are they doing? So he has this management class. It's a management class, but they're supposed to be, the goal of the semester is for them to do a service project, which seems like a weird thing for a management class, but whatever. But it's an online class. And I said, okay, well, how are you going to do a service project online? And he said, well, it has to be something that they can do remotely because all the people are online. Some of the kids don't even live in the same state. And I said, well, I'm trying to rack my brains. What on earth kind of project could you do, service project could you do that would be online? Maybe I just am not in the right headspace for it, but I was like, I don't understand what you're going to be able to do. Somebody somewhere has to be able to actually provide the service, right? So, because his example that he gave me, that they said the professor gave them, was last semester somebody did like an online clothing drive. Okay, I guess managing the online clothing drive, but I mean, somebody has to be boots on the ground actually donating the clothing or picking it up or delivering it or something. So I don't understand how it's all going to work, and it seems bizarre. So not only does that part of it seem strange, but they have to get into teams. But the teacher is not assigning teams. They have to basically make like an audition tape or like a job interview tape and say why they would be a good team member and, kind of what they bring to the table and stuff. And then the students get to pick their own teams, which, speaking as an introvert, I hate projects like that. Because invariably you get stuck with somebody who does absolutely nothing, or several someones who do absolutely nothing, and then a couple of people end up doing all of the work, and the people who did nothing get all the credit. He said to combat that, the professor has told them that you can be fired if your other team members get together and basically think that you're one of those people who's doing absolutely nothing. They can basically have a vote to fire you. Now, the professor has to approve any firings, so it's not just like somebody can decide, I don't like you, I'm going to get rid of you. But if you don't get chosen for a team, then she's like, you should drop the class because you'll fail. Well, that doesn't seem very fair. I mean, I sort of get it. You have to work with people that you don't like in real life. I get that. But in real life jobs, you're getting assigned a team. You're not picking your own team unless you happen to be a member of management. Everybody can't be the manager. So I just told him, I said, this is another hoop you have to jump through. Just jump through it. Like, I'm so over this for him. Some of the stuff they have these kids do seems so asinine. I guess I go back to, what is the point? This is not how stuff works in the real world. So, because I've worked on plenty of projects where I had a team member who did not pull their weight, and no matter how much we complained, we still got them. Let's give people false hope that if someone doesn't pull their weight on a project when you're working together, you can somehow cut off that dead weight. Even though that's not how it really works. Anyway, he's, like I said, got senioritis. He's just ready to be done. Although he said, Mom, this professor made a fatal mistake. And I said, oh, he did? Yeah. And I said, what was his fatal mistake? And he said, well, he told everyone that they only needed D- to pass. this is a generational thing. This is not just my kid, because my sister's kids do it as well. But whenever they have tests or finals or whatever, my nephew, my oldest nephew, when he was graduating college, he's like, yep, I do this too. They have websites that they go to that you can plug in how much of everything, like if your grades are weighted, if homework is so much and a test is so much, it lets you plug that in. And then you can plug in what your grades are, and it will tell you based on what weight the final is, your points and all of that, what percentage you need. You can figure out what percentage you need to get on the final or on a test or whatever to keep your grade where it is, improve your grade, whatever. It'll tell you, like if you're going into the final and you have an 87% and the final's worth 20% of your grade, you can plug all that in and it will tell you how much of a grade you need to get on the final to either improve your grade or keep your grade where it is. So like last semester, one of the tests that my son needed to take, he figured out he only needed to get like a 70 on the exam to keep his grade where it was. So he just didn't bother to study. And I'm like, why? Well, Mom, it kept my B, so why should I? And I'm like, whatever. I just was never like that. And like I said, it's a generational thing, because all the kids, my sons and my daughter's age, do that, my nephews included. I don't know if it's because we have easy access to tools like that now. I mean, I never worried about any of that kind of stuff. I just studied for the test and tried to do well. I mean, maybe it would be different if I was doing it now. I don't know. Crazy. He's over it. So he's only got 4 months to go. And like I said, I told him just jump through the hoop and hopefully you're done in May and we can all move on. Do other things that are more interesting. Okay, I think that's everything I needed to tell you guys about my regular life. So let's jump into my diamond painting life. How exciting has it been? Maybe exciting isn't the right word. I mean, I'm excited about some of my projects, so I guess that's okay. So I finished my Pixels bookmark. I actually like the way it turned out. I definitely need the pixels to be larger for my eyeballs. I managed to finish it by using some very bright lights, and there were a couple of spots where I had to get out my magnifying glass because I couldn't read the numbers. But I like the way it turned out, and like I said, I definitely like that it's flat, so you can actually use it in a book. Not that I read physical books a ton anymore, but I do have them, so I can use it for that. And I'm excited to see, she says she's got some new things coming out, so I'm excited to see what those are. I also got the temperature kit from Craft Pack Canada. I have seen the temperature thing done as crochet projects before or knit projects before where people are making blankets. I had several of you say that they didn't want to cover up the like seasons of trees that she had put as the background. I'm okay with covering that up. I knew what she was trying to do. I think it's just to give it some more visual interest while you're working on it, rather than just having it be this big blank white canvas. So that part of it doesn't bother me. But I don't think I really considered until I got it that it's actually a project that I won't complete until next year, because I have to wait for all of the temperatures and the days, right? However, I think it's fine, because I actually think that will work out well, because our plan is to move sometime this year to Canada. And so I actually think it would make a nice project if I started it while we were here. And then in the second half of the year, we transition and move to Canada. And then it will be like a nice memento of the year that we moved, because it should be much colder up there for the winter than it would be here. So we'll see how that works out. But I think that's going to be, like I said, a fun memento for me. Oh, I finished, if you guys haven't seen, I finished kitting up my Diamond Painting Deutschland. So part 2 of the kit up is out. Now that I'm done kitting up the Diamond Painting Deutschland, I can actually start working on it, which I have done. I have actually laid some drills, so I'm excited about that. I am using the Art Dot storage drawers, and I did go and look at purchasing the kind of 3D printed bottle insert for the bottom of the tray so that it would hold the bottom of the drawer so that it would hold all the drills in place. But it's kind of pricey. It's $16 and I need 4 of them. And I just wasn't sure if I wanted to drop that kind of money right now anyway. So I did what somebody suggested, and I just used the cardboard inserts that came with it, and I cut them up into little strips, and I'm using them as kind of dividers for it. It's working out pretty well. I actually did find some of my kitchen dividers that I had purchased back when I was revamping all of my spare drill storage that I was going to use. Unfortunately, even though I think they were probably the right thickness for the drawers, they were too tall. And there was no real easy way to kind of cut them down and make them fit. So even though I did have them and I found them, they just don't work for that particular thing. So I think maybe I'll just get one of those inserts and see how I like it. We don't have our 3D printers anymore, or I would just have my husband print them, but we actually got rid of our printers because we weren't planning on taking them with us to Canada. So he's already sold them, which is kind of a bummer because it would have been nice to just print them ourselves and get that done. But anyway, I think I might just buy one and we'll see how I like them, and then I'll decide if that's something I want to do. I actually went searching to see if I could find like foam inserts with the cutouts like the bottle cases have. Not something that thick. I would want it to be thinner. And obviously it would need to fit within the dimensions of the drawer, and I couldn't find anything like that. So kind of bummed about that, but maybe I'll come across something. If you guys know of anything like that, let me know, because I would love to be able to just have, I think that would be a good solution, to just have the foam with it cut out for the size of the bottles. I looked at like people who use like, what are they called? Essential oils. I found a lot of like bottle cases and kind of inserts for people who use those so that you could store your vials. I don't know if they would be the same size as these bottles, but I was trying to find something similar to that and just couldn't. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. For now, like I said, it's not the prettiest solution, but having the little cardboard strips kind of cut into pieces that I just inserted is keeping the bottles straight enough. It's not, like I said, it's not the prettiest, but it works, so it's all good. And then, like I said, I've actually started drilling on the Josephine wall. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's a bit of nostalgia for me. I did Diana, which was the other Diamond Painting Deutschland. I bought them both at the same time, but it's been, what, 3 years now? 3 or 4 years since I purchased them. I think I purchased them in April of 2020, so almost 4 years. Diana I did pretty quickly after I purchased it. This one obviously has been hanging around for a while, but it's a lot of the same colors because it's the same artist, of course, the same symbols. Like I said before, I don't know if Diamond Painting Deutschland does that on all of their paintings or just on all of their Josephine wall paintings. All the DMCs have the same color, obviously, and symbol. So it's a bit of a trip down memory lane. There are some new symbols that weren't in Diana, and of course there are some symbols that were in Diana that aren't in this one. This one has brighter colors, I think. Diana had dark blues and greens, but it was also a lot of kind of browns and skin tones. This one is more, there's so far a lot more blue, a lot more purple, and it just feels brighter as I'm working on it than Diana did. But I'm enjoying it so far. I'm still behind. My goal was to do 3 sections a week, and it took me so many weeks to get it kitted up that I'm behind. It is currently occupying my dining room table. What I would like to do is get like 9 sections done. That would be 3 weeks worth of sections, and then hang it up for a couple of weeks while I work on other projects, because like this one won't take me a week to finish. I've got another project in the works already. I've got another project I want to get kitted up. So just trying to figure out how to fit everything in. Opened another one of my Stay or Go series kits. If you haven't seen that, I'll stick a link up in the corner so you guys can see that. Lots of good feedback on that one. Honestly, like I said, I'm still on the fence about it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. So watch that and leave me your 2 cents and let me know what you think. I think the other two, I was kind of, well, I was going to say kind of leaning one way or the other, but I think with the Notre Dame one, I truly didn't know one way or the other whether I would like it until I opened it. I mean, I'd seen the image and I knew I liked the image, but sometimes that can be very different than opening the painting and actually looking at the painting. And the Jaded Gem Shop, I was pretty sure I was going to let go of because it just wasn't an image that I'm in love with. I'm not a huge Jasmine Beckett Griffith fan, so that was a pretty easy decision. But this one, I really am on the fence about. I just don't. There's a lot of pros, but there's also a lot of cons. So yeah, let me know what you think. I think her name is Grace. If it's not Grace, I apologize. But I think Grace sent me a small 30 by 40 double-sided adhesive kit. So I'm super excited because I'm going to be taking that kit and I'm going to be trying to remove the double-sided adhesive and turn it into a poured glue canvas. I haven't really researched the glues yet. I know you can get adhesive from like Diamond Dots, I think. I don't know if Diamond Art Club sells that or they just sell sealer. I know I've seen people saying that using like the Aleene's tacky glue works as well, but I'm going to be trying to do this over a whole painting, so I think I'm probably just going to get like the Diamond Dots glue or something made for diamond painting and see how that works. I've seen people using like glue that comes in a jug. Tried to see what it says on the side of the jug, but haven't been successful. So if you know of something that works besides like whatever the Diamond Dots adhesive glue is, if you have suggestions, let me know those as well. Because this will be a fun experiment for me. I'm really curious to see, one, if I can get the adhesive off without damaging any of the fabric underneath. I've actually been kind of researching quite a bit how people make their own diamond paintings, what kind of material they use to print on. I just came across a video the other day where somebody was talking about sublimating it onto fabric, their image. Their video was about using a conversion tool like PC Stitch or something like that. I can't remember what the name of it was. It was one I'd not seen before. Converting a cross stitch into a diamond painting, and then she was talking about sublimating it and printing it on fabric. So I'm really curious to see how that works. My husband and I have been looking at kind of industrial type printers to see if that's kind of an arena we want to invest into for perhaps making our own diamond paintings. I don't know, we'll see. Lots of options that have kind of come across my desk that I didn't even know were out there, so that's been exciting. So that'll be a project coming up. I am still waiting on my order for Mermaid Cavern. I think it said 3 to 4 weeks for shipping, and I think I'm at 2 or 3 at the moment, so hopefully that one ships fairly soon. I don't know when my Bella Art order will get here. 2 of them were pre-orders, and I have no idea how long it's going to take before they even place the order. And also I know we're running up here against Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year, whatever they call it now. And so I know that's going to delay things. So I'm kind of having to sit on my hands a little bit, because this year I told myself that I was going to spend $150 a month. I gave myself the same budget that I had last year. I set aside a certain amount for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but I said, okay, I'm gonna spend $150 a month. And I thought actually I'd kind of have to force myself to do it. Nope. So I bought the kit from Mermaid Cavern, and then I have 3 from Bella Art that I purchased. That kind of wiped out my budget for January. So I'm trying to be good and not spend any more money until February, but we're only about halfway through the month and I'm already finding it difficult because I keep seeing so many things that I want to try. Trays that I want to try out, pins I want to get, other accessories. And I'm just, sitting on my hands trying to make myself not order anything else until February. The next thing on my agenda to do is to go out and find some events. I have been meaning to do this for a couple weeks now, and I just got so distracted with the kit up of the Diamond Painting Deutschland and a couple of other projects that I just didn't get around to it. I just haven't paid enough attention, I guess. I knew I wasn't going to be doing the Alice one that Lindsay always does in January, so I didn't look at that one. But I don't think I went back and looked to see really if I had anything that would fit. I have all my want canvases that I want to do for my want to do series, which is, this is the first one. But I think I've been seeing people posting about a Jeremiah Kettner event. I have a Jeremiah Kettner canvas. I've never done one of his before. It looks like it would be a lot of fun, and I would like to do that one. I thought it was on my want series, but now that I think about it, I don't even know if it's on my want series. So that may be, I need to go in and look up if it's a January event, because if it is, then I probably don't have enough time. But if it's a January into February, maybe I do. But yeah, I just need to go through on my want series and see if I can make some things fit in events, even if I have to rearrange them. I assigned each kit a month, but that's not set in stone. If I need to change something, I can. But yeah, I wanted to do more events and actually participate, and I feel like I'm kind of behind the 8 ball. Maybe I should just forget about January and concentrate on what's coming up in February so I have more time to prepare instead of trying to jump in. I am going to be doing the Diamond Painting Bingo event, the one that's on Instagram. I haven't looked at the one on Facebook yet. The one on Facebook seems complicated. So I think I'm just going to, for now at least, concentrate on the one on Instagram. It seems more approachable, because I think between this one and one of the other projects I have coming up, I think I'm going to get a bingo from those, so that will be fun. We'll see what happens, but that one just seems a little more approachable, and it's a whole year event kind of thing. So yeah, I just need to go through and look at, oh, and somebody also told me that Diamond Art Club keeps an event calendar. Is that true? And is there a link? Is this something they keep in their VIP group? Because if it's in their VIP Facebook group, I can't get to it. I've tried to join that group like 5 or 6 times and I never get approved, so I've given up. But if there's a calendar out there somewhere, I would love to have it so that I can access it. Speaking of, don't forget that I will be doing my DP for Pets event in June this year, and I will also be doing my DP for Veterans in November, so make sure you put both of those on your calendar. Would love to have you participating in both of those events. The pet event is always popular. The Veterans event, people like it, but it's because it's in November and it's holiday time, it's just really difficult, I know, for people to kind of wrangle everything. There's just not enough hours in the day during holiday season to get everything done, right? Anyway, so yeah, put both of those on your calendar. I think I have my kits picked out for both of those. I think I may change my mind. And also, if you know of an event that you think I would be interested in, please let me know that as well. Like I said, the 2 places that I normally check are Kay's Facebook group, Diamond Painting Event Group, and Mr. and Mrs. Dubé's Diamond Paints, their spreadsheet. Also, I saw Bella Art is doing a kind of I think it's like a year-long thing, but it also looked complicated. I just saw a posting about it on Facebook, so I'm not quite sure what all the ins and outs of that are. It was not really a bingo event, but there's like a listing of things and you have to get a certain number of things checked off, and that qualifies you. And of course, some of it is diamond painting related. Well, I mean, it's all diamond painting related. Some of it relates to their Bella Art Diamonds diamond painting. Some of it relates to the Bella Art De Nicole stuff, but it just looked complicated. So if anyone knows how to uncomplicate it for me, that would be appreciated as well, because it looked interesting. I just am admittedly not that familiar with how all of the events and the ins and outs, and even though I run my own events, I've kind of been solo on most of those as well. So, all right, I think that's everything I needed to tell you for today. So things are looking up. It's been super cold, but everybody's back at work. Hubby and oldest are back at work. Youngest is back in school. So hopefully everything is kind of getting back to normal. Bills are coming in, which is not fun, but I'm grateful that she was able to have the surgery and get everything fixed and is doing well. As you can see, I didn't get a ton done, but I did make some progress. So I got some nice color blocking right here, and I'm working my way into some of the more fun stuff. I've got these 2 bags left here. I think when I started out, I had like 10 or 15 extra bags of drills because they wouldn't fit into the bottles. The bottles were full, and I have 60 colors in this kit. So every bottle had its own color. So like this one, this is the 211. It's still pretty full until I hit a section where I'm using a lot of those. And I think that's mostly in her hat, so until I get to the very top. But those are the only 2 that I have left. This was the pink that I had the most of. I absolutely love this pink color, so super excited about all of that. It's going really well. I can't wait until I get this one finished. Like I said, everything's kind of getting back to normal. Everybody's back to doing what they usually do, and hopefully that will let me get back to what I usually do, which is diamond paint and make videos. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video, guys. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.